Gurl Friendz. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Carrie Fitzsimmons.
And I'm Lacey Wilson.
And we're so glad that you joined us. Lacey, last week they did a rerun of our Black Friday show.
Yes, we had some good shopping tips.
We did, and now I can say that I am not a really big fan of Black Friday.
I think your experience was a little bit different than mine.
My experience was not good.
Carrie actually sent me a text message and she said, I went to Walmart and the people were mean there. I think they got in a fight or they were throwing.
Went to Walmart in Fort Oglethorpe and everybody was crowded in there on Thanksgiving night and people were throwing sheet sets.
No, it was 10 o'clock when they started their sales, right? 10 o'clock on Thanksgiving.
Thursday.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. They were throwing sheets through the air. And I was just thinking, this is
throwing
ridiculous.
Throwing like catch or throwing like you're not getting these
throwing
sheets?
Them like, I went for a specific item. I went for a crock pot for a Christmas gift. And I could not even get down to get the crock pot. And so people couldn't get to the sheets. And they were just yelling out, throw me one, throw me one. So all these sheets were coming through the air, and I was just thinking, now how do they know what size that person needed? They probably didn't.
But that's the thing, though, because it was a certain price they were going after it.
Yes, I think they were 600 thread count for $20. But I am thinking, okay, if you're that desperate for a good deal, just go down to Kmart and
I don't like the crowds.
Put them in the layaway.
I love a good deal. I don't like the crowds, and I don't know. I would just almost rather pay a little bit more for convenience later on.
Yeah.
Than to have to deal with getting knocked in the head with a bag of sheets.
We left that Walmart empty-handed, and we drove down to Lafayette the same night, and it wasn't as bad. It was crowded, but it was not. People, I think we had missed the sheet throwing parties and
the hustle and bustle.
Yeah.
Well, my parents actually went to Target and they were going for a specific item too. And Target, from what I heard, is a lot more organized on Black Friday. They had certain lines and almost like a maze, but there's a map that you can look at prior to going and it will tell you where all the deals are.
Oh.
Well, they didn't know that. There are two lines. One goes toward electronics, which is what they were getting. They were looking for a TV. And the other one goes toward women's clothing. And so when they had to pick, they went toward toward electronics. Come to find out, the TVs were in women's clothing.
Oh, no.
They left empty-handed, too, after waiting in line.
Why did they put the TVs in?
I guess to throw you off? I don't know.
That's kind of mean.
I don't know. So.
Well, we went home that night, got home late, and we went back out the next morning, and things seemed to be a little bit more calm by then. I think the thing is, this year threw me off because all the crazies are still up on Thanksgiving.
That is true. They're fresh off of their holiday family drama, I guess, going to Walmart.
And one lady I work with, she was a little frustrated this year because she said, I wish they would have started it just a little bit later because it messed up our schedule. Mm-hmm. You know, we had to, get the ads out during dinner and then leave, come back home, get a few hours rest, go back out again.
Well, I went Friday morning, and I actually enjoyed it because it wasn't that crazy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it was because the majority of the people went Thursday night. I don't know. But I was also going to the craft store, and everybody was so polite. I mean, it was crazy. We were there at 6 a.m., and people were lining up outside the doors. I just waited in my car with my sister-in-law because it was still warm. So but everybody was nice. The cutting counter, the line, though, I think I got ticket number 30. At 6 o'clock in the morning, there were 30 people already.
And you went to Joann's.
I did. I went to Joann's. I went to Hobby Lobby, too. It was almost like an oasis off of Black Friday. Nobody was there.
Lobby.
They didn't really have any different sales going on than they normally do. Mm-hmm. So that was about it, though. I did a little bit of online shopping, too.
I didn't do any online shopping. But we did both go to Small Business Day on Saturday.
We did. We went downtown to Chickamauga. Last Saturday was Small Business Saturday. Support your small businesses. And we got to say hi to some people down there. So I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I did too.
They have some great shops down there, too.
Mm-hmm.
Good scenery. Oh, and the apple.
Oh, that was good.
Yes, it was. I can't even. It's the new...
Jamocha apple cider or something like that.
It was, and it tastes like apple pie. It's right next to Memories and More in downtown Chickamauga. It's the new little drink shop, and that was absolutely delicious. My mom had told me about it, and so we gave it a try, but that was quite the drink.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it all week. It
And
was really
it was
good.
like $3. It was pretty affordable. It was so good.
Yeah. So it's officially December.
It is hard to believe.
It is hard to believe.
I don't know where the year went, but
No, and I was just thinking, you know, they're already starting to play Christmas music, of course, and people are already starting to get kind of tired of the same songs
over and
so,
over.
So,
Do you have a favorite Christmas song? Traditional or funny?
I like traditional. I like the music that keeps Christ in Christmas. I put on my Facebook last night, if I hear Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas one more time. Yes.
She holds that out for quite a while, yeah.
And at first it's fun, but then it's like, oh. And I like the Carpenters' Christmas.
What about the lighting of the Rockefeller tree?
I watched that.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it. I forgot it was on.
What
Triggered
spurred my
Did she sing
Justin,
again this year?
Well, Justin Bieber is singing it with her now.
Oh, wow.
Which makes it even
So Justin
more
Bieber
annoying.
and Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Well, they kind of did like a music video.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
So I found a funny headline today.
You did. You sent this to me, and it was...
Did you laugh out loud? Because I did.
I did. Dog shoots man. Medics remove 27 pellets from a hunter's buttocks. I mean, this is like if Barney Fife were to go hunting. This is the headline
You
that would
can't
come out of
make this
that.
stuff up.
You really can't.
It says a 46-year-old man in Utah was duck hunting with a friend 10 miles west of the city when he climbed out of the boat to move decoys. And then what happens next is the man left his 12-gauge shotgun in the boat. A dog stepped on it, causing it to fire. But 27 times.
27 times. What kind of gun was he taking hunting? Well, and what I didn't get, I'm not a hunter, so the decoys, and I had to read the story a couple times, and it still hasn't fully sunk in yet, but he stepped out of the boat.
Oh, stepped out.
Stepped
like,
out
why
of
did
the
he
boat.
swim? Like, yeah.
Yeah, so
Was he on land?
Yes, I don't know. Maybe he pulled the boat to land, and they were moving the decoys. But where do you put the? Why are you in the? I don't know.
It doesn't
He's
really
in the
add
water
up.
hunting, and the decoys are on land. And he pulled the boat.
How do you explain
onto
that to the
land.
hospital?
My dog shot me. I don't know.
The butt.
Well, and I loved the very ending of it too. It said.
That's the best part.
KSL.com said Potter did not have information on the type of dog that stepped on the shotgun. Like it matters.
Yeah.
Like it matters. Apparently he had a big paw. I don't know.
It said neither the dog nor ducks were injured.
Nor any of the ducks. None of the real ducks or the decoy ducks. Because he was hunting. What was he hunting?
I don't know, but
don't
that
know
would be
either.
something to explain. I don't know. I thought that was pretty funny.
And that was in Utah, right?
in Utah, yeah.
That, that will be a story I'm sure that they will be talking about at family get-togethers for decades to
Hey, you
come.
remember that time? Yeah. Oh, okay. So the next story I think just shows you how our culture is moving. The top 2 baby names of this year are from the movie Twilight.
I saw that, and I've never actually seen any of the
Haven't
Twilight
either.
movies.
Never read the books.
So what were the names?
The names are Jacob was number 5 on the boy list, and Isabella is number 3 on the girl list.
I guess Bella for short.
Yeah. But I just thought, how funny how Hollywood impacts us so much.
It impacts what people are naming their children. And then I saw where the Kardashians are having another baby. They're having, I guess they had one family member leave their, after 72 days. They had Chris Humphries. They filed for divorce, and so the oldest Kardashian daughter is having her second child too. So I don't know. Maybe
And
she'll name it Bella or Jacob.
Maybe
Who
she
knows?
will, but they made Barbara Walters influential people list for this year.
I saw that, and I saw I think one of the local reporters, I think, had made a statement as to, the Kardashians really, I mean, was 2011 that bad that the most influential people of the year, or one of them, I guess, was this family. So who knows? It just goes to show you how much we focus on Hollywood, I guess.
I guess so. And then another story I read today is that a lot of people are making their Christmas gifts this year, which I think is a cool idea. We've talked about that before and even did a show on crafts.
Yes, yes, and I'm actually going to try to make a few. I can't say what because they might be watching, but you sent me an invitation to Pinterest, and I have not joined yet. I plan to, but you've gotten some good ideas off of that.
Absolutely. There are all kinds of Christmas craft ideas and recipes, even not for Christmas, just for everyday life. It's really
Crock-pot
cool.
recipes?
Crock-pot recipes.
Now, did you
desserts.
end up getting your crock-pot on Black Friday?
I got it on Thursday night. Wasn't for the advertised special, and I didn't know that till I got up there. But actually, I'm more happy with what I got. Even though I'd pay a little bit more, I think it will be worth it.
And so you can go to Pinterest and get your recipes, too. Not too bad.
Yeah. Well, we are very honored tonight to have two special ladies with us. Kay and Wilma are with us. They're sisters, and they are also authors of a book, of two different books.
Pretty accomplished sisters, I believe. Yes.
And why don't you just take a little bit? We'll start with you, Miss Wilma, and you tell us about yourself and where you live now. Like you're in this area. You both are from North Georgia or live here now.
Okay, well, I live in Chickamauga, Georgia. I have lived there since 1963, so I guess I could call Chickamauga my home, although I was born in Cleveland, Tennessee. I'm one of four. I've always liked to write. I think my first really big writing assignment was a big lie I wrote when I was a junior in high school. We had to write an autobiography, and our teacher he said, now every word in it has to be true, and every word in mine almost was a lie. I wrote it, I made it. I thought, how interesting can I be, born in, just a little town like Cleveland? So I embellished it. I made myself a child, I wore a baby, born out of wedlock. And I made it, it was really an interesting story, and he was really rather taken away with it. And after it was finished, one of the boys in the back yelled out, "It's a lie. Every word in it's a lie. I've known her since she was little." And Mr. Apperson, who was very dramatic and actually got to play in the movie The Wild River, he had a small part. He was very theatrical. He looked at me straight in the eye and he said, "Miss German, is this autobiography true?" And with every ounce of courage I had, I looked him right back in the eye and said, "Yes, sir, it is." Because if I had admitted that, I probably would have failed 11th grade. And when we went to school, you had to have English literature every year. But anyway, I've always liked to write, but I actually, did you want me to talk now about my book or just more about me right now?
Whatever you feel like.
Well, like I said, I've always liked to write, and I've always, kind of had a big imagination, I guess. But I actually started my book after my husband died. I guess it was like a healing thing for me. And when I sat down to write the book, my original intention was to write it about my grandmother. And my sister and I share a different opinion of her. She was a weaselly-eyed old woman that aggravated us. But she lived with us. And I think anybody that has a grandmother that lives with us that tries to boss them around, don't really appreciate some of their value until they're actually a grandmother themselves. She knew a lot more than we gave her credit for. But she really did know a lot about medicine. And she did not marry till she was 26. And in her day, she was born in 1867. And she lived almost 100 years. And when you live that long, you've got to learn some things. And she had 9 children. Wow. And she actually had come to Tennessee in a covered wagon with children at the time, when her children were young. So my intent to start with was to write about her. But as I began writing the story, characters came into my mind. And I actually could hear these characters. It wasn't like I was hearing voices or anything, but I actually knew what these characters would say to each other. And so my story just evolved from that. It was just, the story takes place in the late 18th century. Times were hard then. People loved then. People died. They gave birth, there were conflicts at that time. But more it's about a story about relationships and about how all these people in this town of Ridgeview, how their lives intertwined and how they affected each other. And it's a story of hope, and it's got a lot of, it's faith-based too. Out of the 3, hope, faith, and love, the greatest is love. And that's really what it's more about. And I was asked one time at a writing seminar if I thought I had been successful with my book. And my answer was yes. I was a success because I wrote the book. And the success to me did not come in terms of money, even though I have sold several copies. And I would like to sell several more copies. I mean, it's not that I don't want to sell the book. I mean, if anybody wants to buy the book, it's $17, and I'll mail it to you for $2.41 signed. But it's meant more to me to write the book because it was something I really always wanted to do. And for what it meant to me in non-monetary terms.
It was almost therapeutic, I
It
guess.
was very therapeutic. And because I would set up, and I'm not somebody to set up real late at night, but I would find myself at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning writing on this book. And then calling my precious sisters, which they had an ear for me anytime I got, now I didn't call them at 1 o'clock at night, but they heard my story over and over. You know, I would read them things about it, you know, and they always had time to listen. And they've always been two of my most staunch supporters in everything I've done. But the book, yeah, therapeutic is a good word for it.
So how long did it take you when you were writing it?
Probably I wrote the book in about 2 months. Probably I had it written quite a while before I sent it off. And of course you have to find a cover. And I was really, really happy with my cover. I mean,
It's
to
a beautiful
me,
picture.
to me, it was just perfect. And I'd like to read the back if I could.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's really kind of sizes up about the book. Ridgeview is a town with high hopes, opportunities, and where dreams come true. Well, for most. Can an old maid find love with one of the town's most promising bachelors? Can a young widow ever love again? Can success triumph over abuse and hardship? Can faith prevail in the face of death? Can hate be replaced with forgiveness? When are you ever too old to love again? Find the answers to these questions and many more as the pages unfold. The writer takes you on an intimate journey into the lives of several families who are woven together with love, happiness, and sorrow. Experience the joy of a bride as she begins a new life in the late 1890s. Capture the excitement of a new baby and share in the sorrow of the loss of a loved one. Feel the frustration of a young doctor helpless at the bedside of death. Find comfort in the friendship and support of others, even where you might least expect it. Bask in the joy of the warmth of family and friends as you experience with them love, humor, and faith. Ridgeview will make you laugh and cry as you are reminded throughout the book of the power of faith, love, and hope. Love is the greatest of the three and will endure all things.
Can you hold the book up so we can get a look at the cover?
Where is the camera now?
Right here.
And the qualities that you write about in the book, it kind of transcends time, even though it's set, what, in 1890s?
In 1890s. And that is actually my favorite era. I really like to read and write about things that took place really before we have all the modern conveniences. Before we had the automobile and when people really, there was really more family time then. Because I'm looking back at my own childhood because my mother didn't have any of the conveniences that I have. And yet, it seemed like there was more time then. I think sometimes the more gadgets we get, the less time we have.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Kate's book talks about too. It's just like both of you are sisters, and both books are very different, but they both kind of have that theme of family. Wouldn't you agree?
Right, yes. And I just love Kate's book because it has brought to my mind, I mean, when I read some of the stories, I mean, you know, some of them are sad, and a lot of them are funny, but it just takes me back to the magic of our childhood. And it was a magical time. And it wasn't magic like, you know, like the kids do now. You know, they go to Disney World for magic and all this thing. But our magic took place out in the woods behind the house. I was thinking the other day as I went down memory lane, I'm not good on writing memoirs like my sister. She has really got a gift for it. And her memory is impeccable. And she has brought these stories to life. She has taken them and put them on paper. But as I was going down the memories, you know, I was just thinking about, you know, about walking out behind my house about how we would make a playhouse. You know, I would sweep it out and the rocks around it. And I was in love then with this man that was married. I was like 10, and I was thinking it never bothered me that he already had a wife. When I played house, he was my husband. And I loved his wife too. But I would be back there with my little make-believe things, you know, and it was a magical time, you know. And then my mother would call me, you know, do you want to go pick some blackberries for supper? And I mean, it was just a time that I really feel like our children now have missed out on. Because there's just not, I mean, they don't even want to go outside and do anything, but there's nowhere really for them to go. It's sad. That's all gone, and the innocence of childhood has been lost. And I think that's why I like writing in this era too. It was when, you know, everybody knew you. I mean, when Olivia goes tearing into town to the doctor.
Yeah, everybody knows something's wrong.
I mean, you know, the doctor, I mean, as soon as she drives into town, you know, with that buggy rushing into town, he knows, you know, something's wrong. He's meeting her at the wagon. It's not like now you'd have to go in and wait at the emergency room and you might bleed out before they got to you. I mean, you know, but, you know, then they knew something was wrong, and he's meeting her there, and he's immediately ready to do something for John. So I think all of that.
And the two churches in the community.
Yeah. Yeah, and, you know, I mean, it's just like everybody knew everybody.
Which church wasn't just, you know, a place of worship. It was your social time too, and your like second family.
And actually, my grandmother was 26 when she married, and she was an old maid.
Well, don't say that, because
Well, now if you're 26, you're suave and you're intelligent and you're building your own career.
okay.
But back in the 1890s,
1890s, if you had waited till you were 26, then you were considered an old maid. And so I did base that on her, and I do think my granddaddy was a couple of years younger than her. And she was probably pretty lucky to get him.
And this was Grandma.
My grandma German.
Okay,
It
the
was
one.
That she's going to tell you all about, and I hope she'll be able to read a couple of her stories. I hope,
so funny.
because, like I said, you know, she was a really colorful character. I mean, you know, she had a saying for everything, and I think she was brave. I mean, I know she had a lot of attributes that are true in the book. I mean, she particularly liked me more than she did my sister. And she'll point that out maybe in one of her stories why. But I think I was just somebody that my grandmother couldn't totally get my goat. And
Did you argue
that was
with
one of
her?
the first things.
I probably did. You know, I'm sure I did. But I don't think she, you know, came at me the same way she did Kay. And but I think she had to be brave. I mean, you know, she talks about, I mean, when her oldest child was like 5 years old, she already had her in the kitchen cooking. And she would actually take her babies out into the field when she worked, and would all boys and girls both wore dresses then. They had little dresses they wore. And she would actually dig a little hole and put a baby in that little hole and put a rock on their dress to keep them from crawling away while they worked in the field. So, I mean, the woman didn't do anything after we knew her, but she was already old, and she had already raised her kids. I guess she was worn out.
9 kids?
I think I'd
She
be
might
worn
have
out
been.
too.
And plus the fact that she had lost a child. She had suffered the loss of a child. And that gave me a tender spot for her after I got old enough to realize how bad that must have hurt, to see your child dying and not be able to do anything about it. And my aunt that did die had leukemia, they think. And she had a little 13-month-old baby when she died. And it was rumored that child took her first step the day her mother died. And so I don't know. I think in the years that my grandmother lived, that she saw a lot of things. And so I just tried to give her credit for some of that in this book.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the business side of it. I'm kind of interested, how did you seek out a publisher? How did you do all of that?
Well, I self-published.
Okay.
I got on the internet and I actually just looked, because I had heard, and we later learned through a writing class, that most people now do self-publish, because you'll be old and gray most time before your book is published if you send it off. But I published through a place called Author House, and I probably did something I wouldn't do again. The first thing I came to, I accepted it, and you pay a fee, and they print you your books for a certain amount, and then they give you a lot of publicity. My book is available on an eBay book or e-read or whatever you call it, and where it can be on a Nook or whatever. The only thing is, when you self-publish, a self-published author would rather sell their books themselves, because you make more money, of course.
Then go through a third party.
Because I have sold a couple on the internet where they've gone through a website, not my own or anything, and then your royalties are paid out, like obviously a place like Barnes and Noble. If a book sells there and you're lucky to get it there, which mine was offered to them, which I don't know if they took it or not, but if they sold a book of mine, I'd probably get like 30 cents or maybe $1.30, you know, because
They would take
obviously,
the rest?
yeah, because obviously there's a lot of fees that go into that. So when a person self-publishes, you're better off to sell your own book if you can. And it can be available in a lot of different ways. You can set up your own website and everything. And I'm just going to be honest with you, I have not really tried to sell my book a lot. I think I could have sold it a lot more if I had wanted to. But for some reason, that wasn't my mission. I mean, like I say, I have nothing against selling it.
And if people are interested, they can call in
They
and
can
you'll tell
call
them
me,
how
or
to get it.
yeah, and they can use my website, the WIMP, or they can actually buy my book with PayPal on my other website, which is wilmasworkshop.com.
Okay, so that site's up and running. Okay.
Wilma's Workshop is.
Wilma's Workshop.
And eventually, I will have my cupcake business on there, which I do not now.
Yes,
And-
if you all remember, Miss Wilma was with us for the tailgating
Those
episode.
were some good cupcakes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And
I'm
I
telling you what, I have heard, and I have to agree, your cupcakes are better than a place like Gigi's.
Well, thank
I
you.
have heard that.
Thank you so much. But eventually on my website, because I do a lot of things, I quilt, and Wava wants me to say that I also make ties. She's carried away because I made a couple of neckties. They're really one of the easiest things I've ever made. But I delve into a lot of things, and I think that's another reason that I've not gone after this book like I have. I am busy doing a lot of different things. But eventually on Wilma's Workshop, people will be able to see some of my crafts and my cupcakes and things like that.
We might have to have you back on to talk about quilting.
Well, I would love it, because that is one of my passions. I make a lot of quilts and give them for Christmas gifts.
Those
See,
would make
making
excellent
gifts.
gifts. Yes.
Well, let me know and I'll be here. And I'm sure my sister's ready to talk, and she is going to have something far more interesting.
Oh,
than
you
this.
both books. And I'll just have to say this. I read both books. Both books are very different, but they're both very good.
Thank you.
Yes, I think they both have something for everybody.
Thank
And then again, the thing that ties them together is family. So you're going to tell us a little bit about growing up.
Well, yes, I live in Chickamauga. I also grew up in Cleveland, Tennessee, and I grew up in the early 50s. And that was a time, too, kind of like Wilma was talking about, when we didn't have as many things. We kind of made our own games and everything. My book is just written as a child would tell it. I got into a memoir writing class back in the winter. Becky McMahon, through the Chattanooga Library, was our instructor. It motivated me. All the ladies that came to our class, people came in with different needs, and we started our class as a legacy to leave for our family. But I knew right away I wanted to write about my childhood. And like I say in my book, these memories have always been right here. But when I put them on paper, it gave them life. And that's really the basis of my story. And my
Let's
little,
get a shot at this too.
okay.
I love the cover.
I do too.
How old were you in this picture?
I was in the first grade, and I definitely was not ready to have my picture taken. Kind of a bad hair day, I think. But I think the picture
I think
goes
that's
with
a
the title.
prerequisite for school pictures, though.
And we
Your hair has
actually,
to
I
be-
think, have a screen while you're talking about it. We have a
Yes.
screen back there with the website. We can go ahead and
Good.
flash that too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed reading. I got to read one chapter of it where you guys were going, not jet skiing, but I guess that's water skiing. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that happened when I was older. Most of the stories in this book took place when I was 8. And in my 3rd grade year, second,
With the
3rd,
teacher,
4th, 5th, yes.
The good teacher.
Those are the good stories. And I had thrown so many people under the bus in this book. So I wrote a story about Wilma and her husband Ronnie, and she said, "Oh no, you've thrown me under the bus. I didn't know you were going to do that to your sister." But they took me water skiing one time at Parksville Lake, and I've always had a fear of water. But I wanted to learn to ski, and they did. They left me back behind an island, and it did get dark, and I was scared, and it was just awful. But they finally came back to the scene of the crime and got me.
You did get to water ski though. There for a little bit. You
I
were
did
pretty
okay
good,
for a
right?
little while, but like I say in the book, there was an oar laying in the back, and for just a few seconds, I was tempted to use that oar.
As your weapon, huh? Your weapon
As a
of
weapon.
choice.
Did you not talk to him for a little while?
No, I was kind of sold up at them, but most of my stories, you were talking about the Facebook thing, that was spilled coffee. Well, there's just all kinds of stories in here. Some of them are sad. Most of them I think are funny. And the little blog that I've got on the back of my book just says, go on a short journey and view the grown-up world through the eyes of a young, sensitive girl. Growing up in a very poor but proud family in the early 1950s, the stories are entwined with a subtle sense of humor. Written in the author's own Southern voice, you'll be rooting for her all the way. And I've had so many people that's read my book said, "Oh, I wanted to take Kayla home with me."
Yeah.
And the thing about writing a book, you do want to do good on it, but it's not like you're writing an essay. You're not writing to impress as much as you're writing to connect. You want to connect with that reader, and if you've done that, then I think you're successful. And as far as the most rewarding thing that has happened to me since I wrote my book is talking to the students.
Mm-hmm.
I got to talk to some students at Chattanooga Valley Elementary a few weeks ago, and that was really, really good. I've gotten thank you cards from them and everything, and that has meant everything to me. That's what I want to do.
And you've had several book signings as well.
I've had several book signings. My latest one was at the Lafayette Library 2 weeks ago. Did real well there. I've done real well with my book, and I do have a website too. You can order from there, or you can contact me at my email address. It's just kstedman@aol.com.
And what's your website?
My website is the name, just don't put the apostrophe in.
My name's not
It's
Verley.
just mynamesnotverley.com.
Okay.
And
And-
it was on there it is on the
Yes.
screen right there.
And you can pay also, I take major credit cards, and it can go into a PayPal account.
You know, you're talking about your family members in the book and your grandmother, of course.
Uh-huh.
But one person that I really felt a connection to is your mom.
Yes.
Just like the way you described her and how she's a very strong woman
Yes.
and all that she must have gone through,
She did.
you know, and how she kind of rose all above that to raise you guys.
She did, and we had a good mama. She was the complete antithesis of my grandma German, I think. You know, it was like good and evil in my eyes. But my grandma German, I was just a little child, and my book is more frank. It's not a fantasy. It's like the real thing, and I kind of tell it like it is. So if you like that kind of book, you'll like my book.
And I
don't
think it's interesting too.
hold
the
anything
angles.
back.
Well, and the angles that they have, you know, when you look back, you have different relationships with your relatives. You know, the relationship that you had with your grandmother isn't the same relationship that you had. You know,
Right.
and I think that's an interesting angle too.
Yeah, and both grown up in the same household, having different perspectives.
We did.
Yeah.
And Wilma, well, you've laughed at the stories. You know, I was always so much bigger than her, but she's older, so she sort of bossed me around a little bit, I guess.
One story where you said the little old neighbor lady was on her porch and she was like telling Wilma not to make you carry all that.
Oh, yes.
And yet you
Little Kay.
were taller than her,
Uh-huh.
right?
I said in my book, I said their eyesight was still good, but obviously they didn't notice that little Kay was like a foot taller than big Wilma.
And you had to carry all the heavy stuff.
Oh, they would make her, and Wilma didn't like them. She didn't suffer their
But
wrath
see,
like
you
I did.
did.
I did. I loved them. And the grandmother actually made me that beautiful handmade quilt, and I used it until it fell apart. Because that's been a long time ago. I've been married 47 years, so you can imagine the abuse it took. But yeah, those ladies loved me, and they loved little Kay, and they just didn't like Big Wilma. I don't know why.
And I thought about your teacher that you talk so much about in the book.
Miss Ann.
Yes.
Miss
and
Ann
how
McClary.
She was considered kind of an old maid too, and kind of eclectic for her
She was.
time period. You know, I guess she kind of came across as a very independent woman.
She was, and I think I did a good character of her.
Yeah, she seemed
Description
warm,
of her.
especially when you told about the stray dog coming in. That
Yes.
that was very sweet.
Yes, I wish I could have made all my stories about Miss Ann and going back to 3rd grade. That was a good year for me. And she made it good. She helped me a lot. And I can't imagine ever having a childhood void of Miss Ann McClary. And I think some of my friends might be watching tonight that grew up and had her for a teacher. They'll know what I'm talking about. You miss it all if you didn't have her.
And I think that's, you know, still true in education today. We need teachers like that. And there are some
Yes.
good ones out there who can make all the difference.
Teachers
What time?
influence our lives, and I had some really, really good ones, and a few bad ones too.
Like your 5th grade teacher, right?
Yes, in my 4th grade.
But they make you appreciate the good ones, I guess.
That's why I had to change some of the names in my book
To
protect the innocent and the guilty.
And it cracked
That's
me up
right.
too when you talked about your salvation story in the book and how the teacher that you didn't like was all of a sudden there
Yes.
hugging you, congratulating you on your decision.
She actually let me ride to church with her, and I felt very uncomfortable doing that. But I rode to church with her some. But I still didn't like her. I didn't trust her.
You know, you talked about different time periods, and Lacey and I, you know, we were really, our jobs require us to be involved in social media, and we've seen how things have changed. You guys mentioned about the family closeness and how, you know, dinners together and just talking to each other and how it's so different now. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think we have a caller. Hello?
Hello, how are you ladies doing this evening?
Doing good, thank you. How are you doing?
So very much. It's very interesting. I know Miss Wilma Pickle, and she's precious, precious, precious. But let me just say, too, you ladies must have come from a very long line of independent, strong women, and I really admire that about you. Miss Wilma, you are a jack of all trades and a master of many. So I just want to tell you tonight that I'm enjoying the show. I can't wait to read both books. I'm looking forward to that. I really am excited to know that there are women out there that are really coming, you know, to terms with the things that they've had a desire to do, and it just makes it inspiring for other women that are listening to know that the possibilities are out there, that you can do whatever you set your mind to do. And I'm enjoying the show tonight. I thank you so much for being on it and for sharing with all the ladies tonight.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's exactly what it's all about, is inspiring other people.
Now, who published first? I'm curious.
I did.
You
My
did,
book has
okay.
been published about 3 years now.
Okay.
Close to, well, not 3, that's not true. Let's see. I guess it's been about 2 years. I think I got it about this time 2 years ago.
And Wilma really got into it really deep. I mean, she really, like she said, she didn't sleep at night. I think she was driven. She's a person that's driven to do things, and when she puts her mind to it, she really goes all out to get something done. And I'm very proud of her.
And when I started it, I had no idea even how it would end. I know there's one point where 2 characters come to my book that I had no idea where they came from, but they proved to be a very significant part because they brought the doctor to terms with his father, if you remember in the book.
Yeah.
And that just came to me that there needed to be a forgiveness there, and they came. And with them coming in the story, he was able to forgive his father. And the day that I ended my book, I didn't know the day before that my book was going to end, and it just ended. And when that book ended, that was all I had to say about it. And I've had several people want me to write a sequel, and someday I may. One lady sent me a text that said, I would be in heaven. That was her exact words. I would be in heaven if you would write a sequel to your book. I want to know what happened to your people. I may write one, but when that book was finished, when that last word was written, That was all I had for that book at that time.
That's
I
like
am-
Gone with the Wind, Margaret Mitchell. She
And-
said that's it, didn't she?
And I am writing another book now. I've been toying with it for the last year and a half, but it is not about this. I mean,
Is it even in the same time period?
yes, it is.
Okay.
And it ironically is about my other grandmother, who was a saint among women.
Yes.
Okay, do you have a rebuttal for that one?
No, she thinks she's the glue that held the family together
Okay.
too.
She was. That was our Ma Kendrick. That was my mother's mom.
I wish there would be time, I hope there would be, that Kay could read one of her stories. They're rather short, and I think it would really, I think everybody in the audience would
Hi.
enjoy it.
She was-
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm really enjoying the show tonight.
Thank you.
And you two girls are so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. And they are.
They are, yes.
They're two beautiful girls.
Oh, and the other two blondes.
Oh, the two blondes, yes.
Actually, my mother is Wilma and my aunt is Kay.
Oh,
Oh, how
it's
fun.
Marlena. Hi, Marlena.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I just love them and they are very talented. And I'm so proud that they both were able to do this accomplishment. It meant a lot for my mom because she started this after my dad passed away when he got real sick. But I just wanted to say that they're just two wonderful Christian ladies, and I'm so proud they're part of my family.
Well, thank you. Now tell us a little bit about how they've inspired you, because like you said, they're two strong, independent women. So what have they meant to you?
Well, they have.
Hello?
Talking to me?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Were you talking to me?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, they have, ever since I've been little, you know, they've been really good, very faithful Christian people. We went to Bible studies together. I mean, I grew up with Jason and Adam and then Clay when he came along. And we've just always been very close connected. But my aunt, Kay, she's just so wonderful. I mean, she lost her son when he was 16, and she's the one that gave us all the support to actually get through his loss. And she's just an extraordinary person. She's just the kind of person that makes you feel good when you're around her. She's just a blessing to our family, and I'm just very blessed that I have such a godly mother and such a wonderful aunt. So thank y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kay, do you want to read a short excerpt from your book?
You said something. Oh well, okay.
The
I'll
face-
read the
about the
spilled
face,
coffee.
yes.
It's kind of quick. A friend of mine bought this for herself, and her sister is a teacher in Dade County, and she gave it to her as a surprise. And she had read that story, and so she read it out loud at her birthday party.
Oh.
She loved it so well, but it's spilled coffee. Let's see, page 35.
It's one of my favorites too. When you have her on next time, she's written a very funny story about me that's not published.
Oh,
This
well,
is-
she should have brought it tonight.
The name of this is Spilled Coffee. Growing up as a child in the early 50s, there was no Facebook. It would have been just a face in a book, but there was social networking. It had a name, gossip. Our mama thought gossip was a sin, along with playing cards or just about anything that was fun or fattening. She would not partake, but if a little tidbit fell in her lap, that was different. And speaking of social networking, what better way to find out things than through an unsuspecting kid? One day, Mama sent me with an empty glass down to our closest neighbor, Miss Barger. She instructed me to say, Mama wants to borrow some coffee, and she will pay it back Friday when she gets her bill of groceries. They often borrowed back and forth that way. Little did I know my trip would turn into something akin to a lawyer's cross-examination. Miss Barger was a tiny, neat little woman. Her hair was pulled back severely, and she wore no makeup. She always wore a dress with an apron, and her little house was spotless. She gave me the coffee and then stood in the doorway with one hand holding back the screen door. I was tall for my age and almost eye level with her. The inquest began. Who was in that black car at your house last night? I don't know. Who's waving L dating now? I'm not sure. Talk about dodging. Now, Miss Barger was not about to give up until my brain was picked clean. She continued, how much was your light bill last month? Silence. Has Everett got laid off? I heard Hardwick's is laying people off. I don't think so. Is Miss German doing okay? Uh-huh. And then all of a sudden she yelled so loud at me, Kay, Ella, you have stood there and spilled every bit of that coffee. I hadn't noticed, but apparently she had worn me down until the glass tilted along with my body. I now saw fresh coffee grounds in a pile on the wet grass and an empty glass in my hand. I was so scared that since I hadn't answered any of her questions, she wouldn't give me a refill. But she did give me one, along with a stern warning. Don't you dare spill this. I got home with the coffee intact, but was afraid to tell Mama she now owed 2 glasses of coffee back. Not one word was ever said, and thankfully it was a long time before I had to go back. I think Miss Barger didn't tell on me because maybe the next time I would spill my guts instead of the coffee.
I like the story.
That's indicative of most of the stories in my book.
I like those. I like those stories. I like the story about the kitty cats too.
Yeah, the free kittens.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just little stories about a little girl, just an innocent, kind of timid little girl. And I'm not like that anymore.
But you both were talking about how things have changed so much and how there's a loss of innocence, and I can see that too. And most people don't even know their neighbors anymore.
I know.
And so it was definitely a different time.
We were close, everybody knew each other. And school, it was like a family. You grew up with the same children, you went to the same school.
And they were a lot smaller, too.
Yes, they were.
Knew everybody.
And we walked most of the time.
You didn't have to worry about any bad people.
You
No,
were in the neighborhood with your teachers,
a lot of times you were.
We actually rode to school sometimes with our teachers. And if you did anything, your parents knew about it before you got home.
And I bet they didn't blame the teacher. They got on
That's
to
right,
you.
they did. If we told them, if they found out.
Well, now tell us, too, because you're both on Facebook, is that right?
Right.
Now, how long have you been on there, and have you been able to reconnect with some of the friends from your past?
Well, I am not an avid Facebook person. Kay really has Facebook down to a fine art. She has reconnected with everybody as far away as the Pope. I think he may be trying to buy our book next. She may have put a hit out on him. But I'm going to be honest with you, I have trouble getting on Facebook. I think, and I'm pretty computer literate. I pride myself on it, but there's something about that I just have a little bit of trouble getting on there. But I don't get on there every day, and I have connected with some friends. I have a lot of friends on there, and they write me stuff. I hope they continue. Please, friends, continue to write me. I will eventually respond to you. But I am busy doing so many things. I really am. But Kay really has reconnected.
Well, Facebook has been a good tool for me with my book. I've advertised on it, in fact, for our show, and then Carrie put something on her page today about it. So, yeah, it's helped me a lot.
Hi, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just calling. My grandmother is Kay, and I just wanted to say that we were really proud of her, and she spent a lot of time in the dining room and the recliner and such like that, writing these stories and learn a lot on the computer. And when it comes to Facebook, she spent a lot of time on it. Just want to say that we're all proud of her and that we love her.
Thank you, Matt.
Now, Matt, are you friends with your grandmother on Facebook?
I am.
Okay, good.
Kind of awkward, but I am.
Kind of awkward.
Well, are you
I thought I would
friends
see
with
that day, but I actually have taught grandmother how to use Facebook and saw that.
Oh, wow, okay.
Are you friends with your Aunt Wilma?
I'm not sure if I am or not, probably.
You'll have to send her a friend request tonight if you're not.
And Miss Wilma, you have to get on there and check it.
I will. I expect my wonderful nephew, great nephew Matthew, who's as sweet as he is good looking, to send me a friend request.
Uh-oh. Do you hear that?
What?
He's thinking about it.
I said, you're as sweet as you are good looking. You better send me a face request.
Well, thank you. And so are y'all.
Thanks for calling, Matt.
Oh, yes, thank y'all.
Well, that was sweet of him.
He is a very sweet boy. We both have grandsons named Matt.
Oh, well, that doesn't get confusing.
No, not at all.
He's been
say
good to
my
listen
Matt
to
and
my
Matt.
stories. All my family has, but Matt's been right there all along listening. And I would say, I don't know about if I've got, Mama, you have wrote a lot. You know, I would think, I haven't wrote very much. Yes, you have.
He said you did your writing in the dining room?
Yes.
Okay.
Got
I do
another
a lot
call.
Go ahead.
Hi, caller. Go ahead.
Yes, this Gurl Friendz.
Yeah.
This is Wayne from Rocky Face, and just wanted to say a few things about the Occupy Wall Street movement coming to Georgia. We and a couple other concerned citizens are thinking about doing an Occupy Rocky Face movement this weekend, and we're trying to drum up support for that, and just want to use the show Gurl Friendz as a platform to advertise.
Well, sure. Where can they meet you at?
Well, we hadn't really decided that at the moment. Probably somewhere downtown at the Waffle House would be good. I'm usually
In
there in the
Rocky
morning
Face.
anyway, 9:30 to 11.
So downtown Rocky
You can
Face.
ask for Wayne. Usually I'm wearing a blue shirt with an American flag on the back that says Vietnam Veteran on it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Y'all girlfriends appreciate what y'all do.
Okay.
So if anybody's interested in Occupy Rocky Face downtown at the Waffle,
I bet you guys never had to worry about occupying anything.
No.
I passed the Crystal on Broad Street on my way home every day from work, and on their little marquee it says "Occupy this," and did you see that?
No,
It says
Occupy Crystal, I guess.
"Occupy this," and it was like a little special, like 2 crystals for something, $1.99. I don't
A
know.
funny thing happened
That
to
has
us
caught
one
on,
time
that
there.
Occupy.
A funny thing happened.
We
us
don't
one
wanna
time.
even
We don't wanna
discuss that.
Discuss it, but a funny thing happened in there. They have got a very nice guy that works there.
Oh wait, Crystal.
On the Broad Street.
so what
okay.
happened? You can't just open to that and
It's
not,
too funny.
not tell us the rest
Oh
of it.
come on. He's probably not watching.
Did you
Oh,
see
it's
me do
okay.
Zumba? We
okay.
spill everything on
It's
this
okay.
show.
It's not
Oh,
anything
here we
bad.
go.
We got another
Hi,
call.
caller. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm a friend of Kay and Wilma's, Diane Williams, and they have encouraged me to come to the class with them, the writing class, and I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. But they are just precious. We've been friends since we were in our 20s, raised our children together. Both books are wonderful. I've got Wilma's first, and was so excited for her. Ran into her one day in Chickamauga at lunch, and she was telling me about her book, and I just bought it right then and loved it. And then, and Kay's, of course, you know, we were writing the class, and she was waiting in the writing class, and she was waiting for hers to be published, and we were so excited, and we're Christians, and you know, really, really prayed about it, and I feel like the Lord has really blessed both of them, and they're such a blessing to me. So I wanted to encourage anybody that's listening to get their book.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Diane.
Diane.
That was a sweet compliment. Oh, but that was a sweet compliment. So I'm curious about this Crystal story.
Well, we had gone to see Celtic Woman, and
Oh,
none
yeah,
of
I
us
love that.
drive. It was Wilma, me, and Wava. None of us drive good at night, but I was driving, and it was right after the tornado, so a lot of the red lights were down. People had stop signs stuck down in a barrel. I mean, it was just. This was Rossville Boulevard. And first of all, I sailed right through Rossville Boulevard from Central, and it's like, was that Rossville Boulevard? Yes. Have you got a caller?
Caller, can you hang on just a minute? Oh, I guess not.
Oh, no.
It looked like it was an out of town phone number. So maybe
Somebody
it was.
from Cleveland might be calling.
It was a.
Somebody might be wanting to sue me over something else, but I don't have my lawyer with me. But anyway, we finally made it down Rossville Boulevard. My older sister was on antibiotics. She needed to eat. So, okay, we'll get a crystal. So
One
we
crystal.
end up getting one crystal, one
Coke and 2 glasses of water.
and it just made it look like, I said, we're not all eating that one.
Hi, caller.
Hey, caller, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mary Rockface, and I'll tell you what, I think you ladies do a wonderful job, and it just bothers me that some goofy boy would call and talk about doing occupying stuff. I just think that's awful, because you ladies are doing a fabulous job.
Well, thank you so much.
I tell you what, that boy needs to go occupy some kind of job or do something better with his time. He obviously has way too much time on his hands. You girls will just do a fabulous job.
Well, thank you. Maybe he'll be down at the Waffle House, I guess, in Rocky
Get
Face.
his American flag shirt on.
His time didn't do the Waffle House, but I really wish all the best, and I'm going to have to buy a couple of those books. I've got a couple grandkids, and they would love this, and I just really appreciate everything y'all are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I was going to say my book especially, a lot of people have bought my book for Christmas presents.
That would make an excellent gift and a local gift, too.
Well, Diane that just called, she bought a total of 10 books.
Oh, wow.
She's given like to her children, and I've had a lot of people that's bought several copies just to give as Christmas gifts because it's not expensive and it's hard to find a good gift that's
A thoughtful gift, too.
right, yeah, thoughtful, nostalgic. But anyway, when we were eating, I just tried to tell the guy that wasn't for all of us, and he just went off on it. It was just funny. He said, I thought that y'all were having the Last Supper with your disciples.
And he said, you're expecting a blessing, ladies. You're walking.
Yeah, we
Praise the Lord.
We laughed all the way home about it. It was just the whole night was funny.
Hi, caller. Go ahead.
Hello?
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 Hi. Can you? Hello?
Yes, I was given this number and told that you might help pay power bills.
No, I'm sorry. You must have the wrong phone number. We are actually a live TV show.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Have a good night.
Anyway, the guy was so cute. He caught right onto it, and he said, I thought you ladies must really be walking close. And you're expecting a blessing tonight. Praise the Lord.
And the crystal?
Yeah, one crystal. 3 people, one crystal.
And the
2
manager
others.
was peeping out because I said it would have really been funny if we'd have just parked the car and just walked around like 3 homeless people. But I was trying to tell him this crystal's not now for all 3. But I never got to even tell him. He just got.
Because he had his whole head sticking out.
Oh, he
was
just
so-
got
he
right
got
on our
with us,
wavelength.
and we
He
just
was-
enjoyed it. And we laughed so hard, and then when we got out farther out, we found the stop sign in the middle of a tire.
I mean, the whole night was just
A stop sign in the middle of a tire.
Yeah, because the stop signs had blown away.
Oh,
So
so
they
they
had
were
one
power
out
lines
in the middle of the
down.
road, sticking in a tire with dirt in it.
Sounds like y'all need a chaperone.
You know, something tells me when these ladies get together, it is not a dull moment.
That is true.
I think we need to go hang out with them.
I think we should. What, do you guys have plans on Friday night? I don't know.
we love to have fun, and I love to laugh, and I love to make people laugh. It just it makes you feel better.
Well, you both have certainly made us laugh tonight. And if we
Thank
can,
you.
we'll show that website one more time, that book. And then, would you want to give your website out one more time?
My website, if you want to buy my book, is called wilmasworkshop.com.
Wilma's
And you can
Workshop.
buy my book on there.
And then yours is?
It's just www.mynamesnotburley.com. And that's
Okay.
just simple.
Or they can call me, at my home phone, and I
Right.
can mail it to them. My phone number is 706-375-6320.
Thank you both so much for being
Thank
here. I've
you for
enjoyed
having
it.
us.
And their books are really good. You will really feel a connection with characters. for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah.
We have really enjoyed being here.
Thank you. Well, next week we have some ideas on some last minute Christmas gifts.
We do. So if you haven't quite gotten a start on your Christmas, tune in next week and we'll give you some clues.
Good night, girlfriends.